They are all over the news in the Ukraine war. The Wagner Private Military Group, or Wagner Group. From rushing positions around Bakhmut in the ongoing Russian winter offensive to questionable appearances in Syria and Africa and outright criminal acts, they have gained a reputation of achieving success, whatever the cost. Want to know more about the tactics used by the Wagner Private Military Company in Ukraine and Syria? Join us in this video to learn how Wagner's well-trained shock troops and high-tech weapons quickly overpower their enemy positions. We'll also talk about the controversy surrounding Wagner and how they can impact the war in Ukraine. To start, let's talk about what the Wagner Private Military Company is. Wagner is a Russian private military company that was started by Yevgeny Prigozhin, a businessman with close ties to Russian President Vladimir Putin. People know that they work in several countries, including Ukraine and Syria. Wagner is currently fighting in the eastern part of Ukraine, where they have the responsibility of taking Bakhmut, which is held by Ukrainian forces as of the release of this video. By contracting veterans with war experience, they were making advances in the east, but have been taking increasingly heavy losses and are now seen actively recruiting from prisons around Russia, promising shorter sentences and even freedom for those who choose to sign up and go to war. However, with survival looking bleaker for the contractors, the advance has slowed, and the area around Bakhmut is a meat grinder for both sides. So, how do they fight now that more of their forces have no experience in war? The answer is to use shock troops, which are heavily armed units that are sent to quickly overtake enemy positions. These troops are often given the best weapons and gear available. One of the perks about shock troops is that they can quickly break through enemy defenses and take control of enemy territory. This is done with a mix of speed, surprise, and using a lot of force. Wagner shock troops are often used in a formation called rapid assault. In this formation, armored vehicles and foot soldiers move quickly toward the enemy. The vehicles give cover fire while the infantry use smoke grenades and other methods to hide their movements and confuse the enemy. Once the shock troops have broken through the enemy's defenses, they can move in quickly and take control of the area. This can be done by setting up defensive positions, protecting important infrastructure, and cutting off the enemy supply lines. One of the best things about Wagner's shock troops is that they can respond quickly to changes on the ground. Depending on the situation, they can often switch between offensive and defensive operations. In fact, war experts say that the Wagner Group is different from regular Russian army units, which follow strict doctrines and are led from the top down. This ability to change is made possible by advanced training for key components and communication systems. Shock troops are trained to work in many different situations and are given high-tech communication tools to make sure they can get orders from their commanders quickly and act on them. This is key now that there are fewer experienced troops and the company is supplied with fresh recruits. We've seen some tactics used repeatedly in the Ukraine war that have helped Wagner gain some ground around Bakhmut, but at a high cost. First, they use a quadcopter or another type of reconnaissance light drone to make a map of where the Ukrainians are. After this, they use a lot of mortar attacks to keep Ukrainian forces from watching their own areas. Under the cover of mortar or artillery fire, assault teams of 3 to 4 people move forward. A scout leads the way and riflemen follow behind. Other support teams stay in the back and on the flanks, using grenade launchers, rocket-propelled grenades, or machine gun fire to stop the enemy from attacking. As soon as the artillery stops, the support teams open fire, and the assault teams get closer to the Ukrainian trenches, throw hand grenades into them, and then charge them. The Wagner Group has thus been able to surround the town of Bakhmut and are threatening supply lines into the town. In the past few months, they have made more progress than their Russian army counterparts in Ukraine. However, Wagner is controversial. Critics say that these companies don't follow international law and are often used by governments to do things that would be illegal or unpopular if they did them. Since 2015, Wagner has been doing business in Syria. They are thought to have helped the Syrian government fight against rebel groups by playing an important role. They are also known to have taken part in a number of high-profile operations in Syria, such as defending the military airport in Deir ez-Zor and taking back Palmyra. In addition to military operations in Syria, Wagner has been accused of criminal acts, such as stealing and smuggling. Wagner has also been said to be busy in other places, like Libya and Sudan and other African countries. To sum up, the Wagner PMC is used by Russia, where Russia usually want to deny any involvement. However, once they engaged in Ukraine, they have now become a prominent and important part of the Russian campaign, and could be said to be the only part of the Russian military to have some success, but at an incredibly high cost of human life. They have also been accused of stealing and smuggling and war crimes. Do you think the Wagner Group will make an impact in the Ukraine war? Or will they turn on their own if the situation worsens? Let us know in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe to catch the latest news from the front in Bello in War.